So we got trailer 2 for Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, and honestly, that trailer was so good. Like, it ended and I was like, I'm really excited for this. I really cannot wait for this movie. It looks great. It really seems like J.K. Rowling, with the help of Steve Kloves, really like seem to have nailed down a really good story for this third one. I don't know if that's just because there was a pressure on them, to make this one good so that Warner Brothers could, greenlight the next two and be like, okay, yes, we are committing to this 5-film franchise. I mean, it does kind of seem like Warner Brothers went, hey, JK, Steve, we need you to, amp up the story. We need you to, make this epic and bigger. Like, there actually needs to feel like there's a purpose to this movie. We cannot have another Crimes of Grindelwald where, nothing really happens. We need action, we need adventure, we need Dumbledore to be more involved. All that Fantastic Beasts stuff, so yeah, we can sell, the creatures and stuff, but put them in the background, because that's the vibe I got from this trailer. Newt very much took a back seat, which I'm okay with. I mean, I love Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander. I think he is perfect in the role. I'm not a fan of the way the character has been written, per se, for the past 2 films, but I love Eddie in the role, and I think him taking a bit more of a back seat and not necessarily having him be the protagonist of this film is a good idea, I think. Especially since, Jude Law is fantastic as Dumbledore, and it seems very much like this is his film. And I mean, Jude Law's Dumbledore looks badass in this. This is Dumbledore, in his prime. This is going to be so cool. All the duels that we saw, those glimpses of the duels look so good. When he is fighting Credence Aurelius, whatever he wants to be called, when he is fighting him in that sort of blue dimension, and then the camera work sort of the camera sort of does this parallax move, and, it shifts from that blue dimension into the real world, is what I'm assuming. That looks so good. It seemed like David Yates is stepping up his game again. And honestly, the movie just looks exciting and fun and thrilling. And I won't lie, Mads Mikkelsen looks incredible as Gellert Grindelwald. I mean, we haven't seen much, but I think he's going to nail that sort of Hitler-esque vibe that Grindelwald is supposed to have, but also the charisma. I mean, when him and Dumbledore are sitting in that cafe and they're discussing their politics, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be really cool. I could feel that there was definitely a connection between the two of them. Obviously not romantic anymore, since, Dumbledore thinks that Grindelwald killed his sister, but also Dumbledore doesn't know who kills his sister, because the whole context of the Dumbledore-Ariana situation is that him, Aberforth, and Grindelwald were all fighting. Ariana, in the books, she's not described to be an Obscurial, but I think that's what the first Fantastic Beasts set up, was that Ariana is now an Obscurial. But basically, there's a fight that breaks out between Aberforth, Dumbledore, and Albus, and then they don't know which one, fires, the killing spell, but Ariana is dead, and so just knowing that there is that tension between Dumbledore and Grindelwald going into this film, and that they are going to meet and they are going to talk, is really interesting. And I think that's what I really want to see most. I want to see the Ariana flashback, because that stuff we should have gotten in Deathly Hallows Part 2, but Deathly Hallows Part 2 doesn't focus on the Dumbledore stuff, and I will mention that when I review Deathly Hallows Part 2. But it's that thing of, this is the story that we weren't really told. It was mentioned in the Deathly Hallows, but we weren't told, hey, Dumbledore had a pretty, grey past. He wasn't, the white knight that we saw in present day. He wasn't that wise, respected figure. He had some, ideologies. He believed in things that weren't necessarily the right things to believe in. He was a bit morally grey. And that's the thing. I really felt like, oh yeah, this is definitely a war movie, and oh yeah, Dumbledore and Grindelwald are going to fight. I don't know if they're going to destroy the Blood Pact in this film, because we see it in the trailer, but I don't think we see it get destroyed. And so there is a possibility that it doesn't get destroyed in this, and that the fight between Dumbledore and Grindelwald is actually a fake out, which I think would make sense, because, in all the Harry Potter books, they always pinpoint the fact that Dumbledore and Grindelwald had this legendary duel, and, the way they pitched the Fantastic Beasts films was that in film 5 we would get the legendary duel between Dumbledore and Grindelwald. And so I think they might fight in this movie, but I don't think their magic will be fully effective against one another. That is providing that the Blood Pact isn't destroyed in this film. Though I do want to propose this idea, and granted, this could be really ballsy from Warner Brothers, J.K. Rowling, David Yates, Steve Kloves, everyone involved. This would be really ballsy, but in the Deathly Hallows book, Rita Skeeter's biography on Dumbledore poses the question of maybe there wasn't actually a climactic fight between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, and so maybe in the Fantastic Beasts films, Film 5 ends not with a climactic fight between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, because Rita Skeeter proposes the idea that maybe Grindelwald just surrendered because he realized the error of his ways, and so he allowed Dumbledore to lock him up in his Fortress of Nomengard. And so maybe throughout the 5 films, we don't actually get a full-on epic battle, on the proportions of Dumbledore versus Voldemort, like in Order of the Phoenix. So we never get a Dumbledore-Grindelwald fight. It is just Grindelwald surrenders, but throughout the films we get, sprinklings of action, but, it's never a full-on, high fantasy fight. I think that could be really ballsy, but I don't think that is the case. I do think Film 5 will end with the big climactic duel, and the duel we see in this film won't necessarily be the duel that we hear of legend from the Harry Potter books. Another point I do want to bring up is, where the hell is Tina? Like, I know every, Fantastic Beasts, Newt, Tina, shipper, whatever on the internet, they're all bringing up this question of where is Tina, because she hasn't shown up in any of the promotional materials. In all the posters they released, there is not one for Tina. She hasn't shown up in the trailers, but apparently she is reported to be in this movie. Like, Katherine Waterston's Tina Goldstein is in the film, but she's not in any of the trailers. I think they're either hiding her involvement because there is a story twist that maybe Tina is pretending to be Bunty or something like that, like Tina is undercover, or there is a possibility that the studio and J.K. Rowling are minimizing Tina's role slightly because of Katherine Waterston's disagreements with J.K. Rowling or something like that. I mean, I'm not looking too deep into that side of the argument just because I'm not well informed about it. Like, I think I just saw an article about it because Katherine Waterston opposes some of J.K. Rowling's views and all that, but that might be an option as to why Tina is not in the film. But for a story reason, it could just be that Tina is undercover as Bunty. That is a fan theory I've heard, which I do quite like, actually. But I do hope we actually do get to see more of Tina in the film than the trailers are letting on, just because her and Newt's interactions are some of my favourite things in the Fantastic Beasts films. I mean, they have the best scene in The Crimes of Grindelwald, which is when Newt tells her that she has salamanderites. Like, that is such an adorable scene, and I really love that the two of them eventually, get together and marry, because that's just cool, and I really like their chemistry, and so I would like to see more of Tina in The Secrets of Dumbledore, and so I hope she does make an appearance. Now, I have a theory about Jacob being able to do magic with the wand that Dumbledore gave him. I actually think that the wand that Dumbledore's given to him isn't actually a fully functioning wand, and instead it's just a stick that Dumbledore has enchanted that will allow Jacob to protect himself and be able to defend himself against magic. I don't actually think Jacob is a wizard, but I say that it could potentially be the idea that J.K. Rowling is just making up the wand lore as she goes along, because she is known to do that. I remember rereading Deathly Hallows recently, and I got to the stuff with the wand lore, like, oh yeah, if you take another wizard's wand and you win it from them, then that wand becomes theirs. That, to me, just felt very much like a Deus Ex Machina. It was her basically going, I need a way to make Harry the master of the Elder Wand without actually having him steal the Elder Wand. So I'll just pretend, oh yeah, him disarming Draco suddenly makes him the master of the Elder Wand. And it was like, okay, I can kind of buy the wand lore, but since this is the first book that she has introduced that idea of, taking wands and winning it from other people, that to me just felt kind of like a Deus Ex Machina for the Deathly Hallows book. And so I wouldn't be surprised if in The Secrets of Dumbledore, out of nowhere, she's like, yep, Jacob was a wizard the whole time, even though we said he was a muggle, because he has some distant magical powers, laying dormant inside him, or he's related to some kind of magical wizard. And it's like, that is potentially the case. It could just be a cop-out. And just adding on to that point with the wand lore, I think there is a possibility that Credence isn't actually Aurelius Dumbledore. I mean, I thought that when the Crimes of Grindelwald ending happened, I remember going, okay, Grindelwald is lying because he is known to be a mass manipulator, a liar, and so him lying to Credence about his true identity would make sense. And also, I just found it weird how when Credence took that wand and then, blasted that mountainside at the end of the Crimes of Grindelwald, it made me think of, Harry's time in Ollivanders, and how Harry, when he didn't find the right wand, was blowing up stuff. It just made me think of that. Like, the wand that Grindelwald gave to Credence didn't choose him. And so, if my theory about Jacob not actually being a wizard and that the wand Dumbledore has given to him is sort of like a trick wand that will, keep him from harm and danger, if that's the case, then there could potentially be the idea that Grindelwald did lie to Credence and that Credence isn't actually Aurelius Dumbledore. But then there's the whole Phoenix thing, and that's confusing. All I know is that I had a theory that Credence was being lied to by Grindelwald just purely for the fact that Grindelwald just gave him a wand and boom, he could use the wand. And like, that wasn't how the wand lore in Harry Potter was established. But again, it could just be the idea that J.K. Rowling is just making this stuff up as she goes along just because she needs the plot to do what she wants it to do. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I think this film looks amazing. Like, I had my doubts with the Fantastic Beasts franchise after Crimes of Grindelwald. Like, Crimes of Grindelwald is not a good film. I kind of enjoy it, but not really. Like, it's a thing where I still enjoy the film because, yeah, it's Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts and all that. But I do know from a technical perspective, from a, logistical perspective, The Crimes of Grindelwald is not a good film. But The Secrets of Dumbledore, on the other hand, this looks good. This trailer got me excited, like the music too, that sort of epic, bombastic version of Hedwig's theme, which was just awesome, was so good. I do find it weird though how the Fantastic Beasts films always market their trailers with the Harry Potter theme, when like James Newton Howard created an amazing theme for the Fantastic Beasts franchise. You know, the like, that's great, but they don't ever use that in the trailer. They just go Hedwig's theme and Deathly Hallows imagery, and it's kind of like, Can we not, make this a Fantastic Beasts thing and use the Fantastic Beasts theme? But honestly, I'm really excited for the film, and it's not even that far away. In the UK, it comes out on the 8th of April, which is, super close by. It's just turned March now, and, it's just over a month away. That's crazy to me. But either way, I'm excited, and I can't wait to see this movie. But what do you guys think about Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, specifically this trailer? Leave me your thoughts and theories down in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, follow me on social media, all that good stuff. It's all down in the description. And until we meet again, see you guys next time.